Okay, so welcome to the this Blab, guys. Thanks so much for hopping in here for a couple minutes, and to talk about why you should write a book, and maybe a couple of reasons I truly believe that everybody should write a book, and it kind of has a lot to do with this book that I just barely finished called "Live Your Mission." And, everybody, like I was just, in the book, it talks about how everybody has a mission in life. Everybody has a unique calling that they have to fulfill here in this life. And I believe that, you're so much happier, when you are fulfilling that calling. Welcome, Sarah Thompson and Saab. Thanks for joining the call. Or the Blab, I guess. So we, no problem. Thanks for hopping on. So yeah, we are, going to talk about how, you really should write a book. And I think, like I said in this book, that Live Your Mission that I just barely finished, it's not live yet. So it's not on Amazon. You can't look for it yet on Amazon, but it will be, very soon. But yeah, I talk about, having living your mission, and I think, that everybody has something unique that they can contribute to this world. And when you're living your mission and you're actually accomplishing that, once you've discovered it, the world is a better place because you exist. And I truly believe that. And that's why I honestly believe that you should write a book, and you should, you should get your message out there, get your story out there. I mean, it's really awesome to have these broadcasts like this, like Periscope and Blab and, even your blog and everything like that. But a book almost kind of solidifies it for you. And let me just, and we're also going to have, Corinne join in. And if you guys want to hop in as well, anybody else wants to hop in, that's totally fine too. But I wanted to just share kind of at least five reasons. And, if you guys have more reasons why you think we should write a book, then I think that'd be awesome to hear. And I'm going to go ahead and add Corinne in here real quick while I'm still talking. And hey, how's it going? Okay, Song of Joy B, welcome. It looks like you said this. I saw your title and my first response was no. I don't think I could ever get my brain organized enough to get a book created. Yes, hello and thank you. That sounds amazing. Great. Well, hopefully this helps. Because it is tough. Writing a book, oh my gosh, it took a lot longer than I ever imagined. But
how long did it take you?
Okay, so from I guess idea phase to, so it was interesting in kind of evolution. I won't go into a lot of detail, but basically I had this idea, and we'll go ahead and let Sarah hop in as well.
Yeah.
So welcome, Sarah. Hi, how's it going?
Hi.
So from idea, just to answer your question, Corinne, from the idea to finish. It took quite a while. Maybe probably about a year.
Oh, wow.
And probably 6 months in kind of the writing phase, but you can write, if it depends on your time, you can write a lot faster than that. If you have more time. I was juggling maybe 3 other businesses, and it was kind of something that I was doing in my free time.
Right.
Which I think is the case for a lot of people.
What's that?
Free time, right? Yeah, I don't know what that is either. Good point, Sarah. So yeah. Okay, I have no problems with the reasons. Are you? No, okay. You're Thompson. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I just want to hear you. Song of Joy B. Okay, I just saw that Song of Joy said, I have no problems with the reasons. It would be the faith and encouragement I would need. Great. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I think you're in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. Let me just, I just kind of jotted down a couple of these reasons here that I really, truly believe in. And while I'm pulling those up, Corinne, do you want to kind of talk about your kind of because you said you want to write a book, and I have a little idea of what your book you want to write is about.
Yeah.
And you don't share that if you don't want to, but you can. And
no.
just
Yeah.
talk about that for a second.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and share. Thank you so much. So guys, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Corinne. My scope, my website is called Win with Corinne. And it's pretty much about, it's sharing my story and the story of others who are overcoming adversity and are now creating something extraordinary out of their once ordinary lives and are doing something to either give back or help others do the same, teach others how to do what they're doing. And so the first idea was to write a book on like my story and kind of like how I went from being in the mess and the adversity that I dealt through for like a year and a half to where I am today. And so that was the idea of what I wanted to do. And I'm still writing. I've already started that book. But then I kind of decided that there was something else that is needed and that would probably generate more revenue. And that is another thing that I'm so passionate about. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to write a book on this first because it'll be a quick read. And I just think it's something that people need like now. And that's a Periscope book. So I'm writing a book on Periscope, why and how like you definitely want to be Periscoping. You know, kind of like giving people like an idea of just the potential that there is here and all the opportunities that are coming, all the possibilities here in the near future. And I think the biggest problem or the biggest thing is that a lot of people are on Periscope, but they haven't actually hit broadcast yet. And so I want to encourage those people to, like you said, get out there and share their message with others, whatever, however that may be. I just want to, so it's going to be a quick read to where you can read the book and that same day actually hit the broadcast now button. So that's what it's about. It's on Periscope.
Do you think that
Cool.
that Blab makes it easier for people to get on screen? Because I noticed that I have some clients that are really scared of going on screen. So I invited them to come on my Blab.
Yes.
Because they feel more comfortable having more than just them.
Oh,
right.
absolutely.
Where, if it's just you, you feel like all the attention is just on you. Whereas if there's 3 or 4, even 2 people, it's not as scary.
Yes.
It's more like having a conversation.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think, and it's like, not like you said, not all eyeballs just on you. It's like everyone else.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So are you going to talk about other live streaming in your book?
I hadn't thought about that actually. And I might like have it kind of be like an add-on to where it's a little longer version, but this is going to be my very first book. And also I had questions, which is why I was so excited to be on this Blab with you guys. I don't know if everyone else has already written a book or not. Like, this is going to be my first book. And I was excited to talk to Andy about how he did his, like, the publishing. I'm sure we'll get into all of that. But also I'm doing it like through, I'm making it online, writing it online, and doing it. So far, plan to do it through Amazon, so it can be done like really fast. I read this. Actually, I haven't read it all yet, but I watched a whole video on. Have you guys heard of the Publish for Profits book?
No.
Okay, so his name's Mike. What's his name? He's like so well known. When we're done here, or actually while I'm on here, I'll go on my computer while everyone else is talking a little, find the link to that and share it on here, because he's teaching people how to publish a book. I mean, he wrote a whole book on it, how you can literally publish a book. I mean, in a matter of days. You can write a book, like Andy said. You can do it as fast or as slow as you want to do it, and you can write a book and literally have it published and even have printed copies. I mean, someone has done it in as fast as 3 days.
And one of my friends wrote a book, and he showed me this program that's really cool, Scrivener.
Oh, okay.
You guys heard of it?
Yes.
No.
And what it does is that you can write. So you say you're writing your whole thing, and it allows you to do an outline and write and take pieces of that content and put it out like as blog posts and all this other thing.
Oh, I see.
But you can make it into an ebook sellable on Amazon right in that program.
Right. Oh, wow. And
totally check it out. And it's not like a lot of money. I think
True.
it's like $80 or $100, and
cool.
You do all the writing in the program, and then it formats it so that you can have it as an ebook.
What was the name of that? I want to put it
It's called Scrivener.
Oh, somebody just typed it in the comments.
Yes.
Is that how you spell it?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you so much. I'm writing it down.
Have you used it, Jeremy? Or?
I haven't, but I'm probably about to buy it at some point. I've been using Evernote, and then kind of taking Evernote and pouring it into Word or whatever. Evernote seems to work great if you're just trying to dump the contents of your brain and intervals, and then just kind of distill and curate that into hopefully some discernible, rational writing.
Right. Yeah, I use Evernote for that.
Yeah,
because it's really simple.
Yeah. Andy, did you have kind of like an outline of the things we wanted to talk about?
They're really pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah. If you guys want to, for anybody who's just wanting to know, why you should write a book, I think that it really is. These are really interesting, and then I'd love to get into kind of some of the nitty gritty about what to do. I love talking about like how to do it. You know what I mean?
Like steps.
Using Evernote or Google Docs or different drafts and things like that. I think that's pretty fun stuff. So and why Amazon? I think you guys, Amazon is like a gold mine. So and we can talk about that in a second. But yeah, I think. Honestly, just really quickly, I mean, really simply, the first thing would be a book is really, it's like a glorified business card,
Yes. Love that.
And it's, it's like you can give somebody your business card. But like, you and I don't know if you guys are interested in speaking or, in things like that, where people, will pay you to come, speak or inspire or do consulting for a group or an organization or a business or whatever.
Yeah.
But giving them your book, a link to your book, is like 10 times more powerful than giving them your business card, because you're a published author, no matter what it's about.
Lost her.
We lost her.
Maybe she had an internet thing or something.
Maybe. So it looks like she's still in, but maybe she got kicked out. But I'm sure she'll hop back in. But yeah, it's like a glorified business card. So, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And
I think also it gives you like more credibility. The fact that you took the time to write a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Gives you a level of credibility. I mean, I hate to say this, but even somebody who writes a bad book, like the book isn't really even that good. It's like, well, they took the time to write a book. I've always wanted to write a book, and I haven't taken the time. So that's some kind of commitment that it shows, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like, that reminds me of, there's a lot of my friends who, and I used to build a lot of websites for businesses. That was one of the businesses I ran. And people would ask me, well, why shouldn't I just have a, my website.blogspot.com or .wordpress.com or .whatever.com versus just, mywebsite.com, and it shows that I mean, honestly, you can get a website that's just your website.com for almost cheap, the same price.
Right.
I mean, you can get it for free sometimes, other than the domain price. And, okay, great. Looks like Corinne, her phone died. This is what happens when you Periscope all day.
I know, your phone battery. You need like extra. She needs like backup 3 or 4.
I know, it happens to me too. I'm keeping my phone plugged in all day because I'm Periscoping an event tonight. So, anyways, okay, there she is. She's back. All right. So, but yeah, it's really, it really is that it's a little bit of an edge, because people see that, just like when you when you have a website that's just like my website is andrewscottproctor.com versus andrewscottproctor.blogspot.com, you have a book versus just having a business card. So anyways, we'll move on to the next one real quick. It looks like Corinne's struggling to join, but looks like she still has a pulse.
Pulsing.
Andy, this was happening on Blab last night. There were a couple of Blabs where people just got popped out and they had to come in. So if it gets bad, if you type the @ symbol and help, or if anybody does that, it'll get Blab in here.
It'll come. They'll come try to help. Okay.
And I wanted to get on from computer. Hop in to say hi. I can.
Yeah, thanks for hopping in, Jeremy.
It's good to be here. I'm
no problem.
Writing my first book. The Positivity Patrol is the tentative title, and so I can pop out to let Wynn Kelly Charles in too.
It looks like she was wanting to hop in too. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
thanks.
Why don't I'll pop out and let that person pop in, and I'll be here to help, and may not pop back in later. So
okay,
all right,
you're free to stick around too.
Okay, I'm going to stick around and listen. So
perfect.
But I'll pop out and let
good to see you, Jeremy.
That person come in. All right.
Take care.
Should I not? Yes. Should I not?
Oh, I don't know what Corinne's
saying. I'm losing track of. No, try refreshing. And then try to jump in again. So that might work. Sometimes you just have to refresh your browser and then jump in.
Yeah, that's happened to me too.
Yeah.
Or on my phone. I guess your phone's dead, but on my phone I had to completely shut down the app and then bring it back up. And
I haven't had the best of luck using it on my phone. I always do it on my laptop.
That's actually a good idea. So we'll just kind of move on to this next one, and hopefully, Corinne, you can hop back in as well. But just keep trying here. And anybody else who wants to hop in, feel free. So the second thing I was just going to mention is that, it's interesting. I teach at my church. I teach the younger kids, and we have a little Sunday school class, and younger kids, they're like 14 to 18. And they're pretty obnoxious sometimes. They're great kids, but anyways, and I
50-year-old is in the other room, so
I'll try to keep it down.
Don't talk about obnoxious teenagers.
They're awesome kids. Okay, great, sounds good, Corinne. But honestly, and I've actually taught the adults as well. But every time I teach a lesson, I learn 10 times as much as I teach. And, I learned so much about what I'm about to teach. I mean, you kind of have to, because there could be questions or there could be other things that pop up or whatever. And you really want to feel like you have a good grasp on it before you teach it. And that's something that's so important about with writing a book. It really, it changes you. You learn so much. And it makes you a better person. I mean, honestly, I guess depending on what you're writing about, maybe it might not make you a better person. But I think writing a book about something that you are here to contribute to the world is honestly, it's just, in writing this one, it's a pretty small book. It's only about 21,000 words, and so it'll probably end up being like maybe 50 to 60 pages. But it's changed me. I've learned so much, and I've loved the process of writing it and seeing what I've become because of that. So that's the second thing I think that is really awesome, as kind of a benefit of writing a book, and why I think everybody should write a book, because, honestly, even if you don't publish it, it'd be kind of a waste if you didn't, but even if you don't publish it, it's kind of like just the process itself is worth totally worth. Hey, welcome back.
Sorry,
that's okay. So we hope we can keep you on.
Yes, I charge you. We're all good.
Sweet. Okay, perfect. But yeah, we were just barely mentioning while you're gone is how writing a book changes you. It makes you a better person. It really does. And like I was saying, I learned so much more than what I teach,
Yeah.
And you really learn a lot more than what you share.
Yeah.
And so, and the first thing, so I totally actually went out of order, but not that there's really an order, but I've been kind of talking about this the whole time. But the third thing I was going to mention is, which was actually supposed to be the first thing, is that I honestly believe that everybody has a mission, a personal mission in life.
Oh, yeah.
and that only you have, that only you can do, and that if you don't do, nobody else will.
Right.
And and when you do it, when you're fulfilling that calling, that mission in life, like the world is a better place because you exist. And the people need to know about that, and writing a book helps you kind of focus in on that sometimes.
Yeah.
So, and then, the fourth thing I want to talk about is, I've just been, I thought about okay, we have another person joining here. So Carolyn Bishop, welcome. And also welcome Jonathan Denwood. Thanks for hopping on here. And Goo Event, welcome. So, it was probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago when I was trying to think, I wish I knew, okay, it looks like they're struggling to join, but keep trying. We can see your pulse. So I was just wondering, what does I was reading in hey, welcome, Carolyn. So I'm Christian. I read the Bible. I read the scriptures, and I was reading the scriptures one time, and I was wondering, like, what in the world, like, what did my great grandpa think about this verse, and I couldn't really relate to, because I was doing some kind of family history, trying to figure out where I came from, and which I think is really interesting to do sometimes. I wish I could get to know that person better, because I found out more about, like, my great grandpa, and the fact that some of them are from Wales, some of them are from Norway, some are from England, and I thought that was really cool, but I knew nothing else about them. So I thought, I am not going to let that happen to my kids and grandkids and great grandkids. And writing a book, it really makes it's like your legacy. Mark, you're leaving a mark that will last forever. Absolutely. It'll always be in the Library of Congress, it'll always be there. I mean, and writing a book specifically about your calling in life will really help people get to know who you are hundreds of years after you've died.
That's so good. I love that, Andy. That's so true.
That's cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it seriously, it makes a huge difference. So, thank you guys. And Carolyn.
Yes.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
Let's.
What you were saying really resonated with me because I have had problems with my mother, a lot of them, and I'm sure that we both had part. But recently, she, I want to say died, but she was brought back. So, and it was made apparent through that she definitely had more purpose, that she hadn't finished or fulfilled her purpose on the earth.
Right.
And her presence has been such a gift. I can feel that the world is a better place because she's still here. Right. Everybody can feel that, especially me. I mean, I've worked out. I mean, it's been a miracle, phenomenal since she came back and the time that we've had together. Yeah. And so, and it's what's so funny about that is the big reason in her mind why she came back was to finish her and my dad's personal histories.
Wow.
That really need to be done. And we're all working together to get that fleshed out. And so, okay, I just want to say you made a believer out of me.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You changed my mind. Yay.
Thanks for sharing. That is so powerful, honestly. Like, and the church I pertain to, we're like really big on family history. Yeah. Because we really believe in what we call the spirit of Elijah, which is basically when you start to you know, when you start to really look into like, who were these people, you know, and like, what are my ancestors like, you know, and why did they do what they did and stuff, you kind of start to feel, you can almost feel them, you know, helping you out. So I think it's really cool. It's really, I mean, try it and see what you see. I guess you already have. It sounds like you're already doing that. And
No.
And one thing that I think is really cool too is an idea I had for Periscope. I have a grandmother who's 96 years old, and she's on Facebook. She has an iPad. I mean, she's awesome. She's crazy.
That is so
she's
great.
Amazing.
That is awesome.
And she just like is an inspiration to me. And her husband, she remarried because my grandfather passed away like, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. And and he's you know, he's the type of guy that's basically the same until just about a year ago when he had a stroke, but he was like rollerblading and, you know, anyways, cool guy. This is an amazing powerhouse, like, you know, couple. They're both over 90 years old. And anyways, I'm going to interview her and on Periscope, actually. Wow. I think it would be really cool to kind of have people just ask her questions about, you know, what secret to life, you know. I mean, you think about it, she's lived through so much. I mean, you know, I mean, she's on Facebook now, but she was alive when, you know, Mark Zuckerberg's mom was in diapers, you know. And so it's kind of like crazy. Yeah, go ahead, Carol.
I want tips on. I think I am in the right place on how to interview my mother, because she had a very hard childhood. And if you knew her dad, you can just imagine that she's never told us very much at all about her childhood. And she says, she keeps maintaining there's nothing to share. So how do we?
I can answer a little bit about that. My grandmother wrote a memoir. It was 500 pages, single spaced.
Wow.
So, but when she decided to write it, she was already in her 80s, and my aunt helped her write it. And you know, took a lot of what she was saying and put it into the book, right? And since then, my aunt and my grandmother just passed away a couple of years ago at the age of 92. But my aunt wrote a book as an excerpt of these memoirs, that's awesome. And published it. So I think it's like seeing that process. It was more about just getting the stories from my grandmother and getting that down. And then from that, I mean, there was no way anyone was going to publish this gigantic book of, I mean, my grandmother tells a story. It was long, right? But pulling out from that, the things that were significant. So my aunt's book is about when they moved from Massachusetts to Mount Bayou, Mississippi in the civil rights movement. My grandfather was a doctor, to work at this clinic in this poor town, and they were one of two white families. And my aunt wrote the story from my grandmother's perspective, but also from her own perspective, because when she was there as a teenager, she was assaulted. And so she, you know, added in her own, you know, feelings and take on that whole situation. And so I think, you know, just starting to have these conversations and talking to your mother about collaborating on something, you know, maybe she opens up and maybe she doesn't, but at least you'll be getting those memories down, and then you can choose how you want to use them in terms of a book.
I had the thought when you're talking to ask her how she feels about certain things, or what relationship did she experience with a certain family member as a child, things like that. Yeah.
But I think approaching it just from like, I want to capture your memories.
Yeah. I think that's great. And it looks like Jeremy has a quick comment over here, which I think is good. I don't know if you saw that already, but try audio taping, videotaping. We did audio tapes with my grandpa using video with my dad. Now man, I really wish I would have done that with my grandpa. He was a World War II turret gunner. And, in the big B-52s, he was the guy that was on the bottom, shooting the machine gun. And he had so many stories, and I never recorded him with the camera. And I just
think our grandchildren are going to be watching these replays of Blab.
I know. Yeah, they are. Yep, that's true. That's funny. That's a totally different Blab in itself right there.
I know.
How big of a mark we're leaving right now on the next generations with all this record, all these marks we're leaving with social media and the internet. So, cool. So you guys, thank you for your input. This has been really awesome. And
I have an idea.
Okay.
For getting your book organized is when you start telling other people about your experiences or life lessons that you've learned, or that you stop and think to write them down as they come. Or
sure.
How did you guys say that in that Evernote?
Mm-hmm. Evernote, yeah. Yeah, Evernote's really useful. Sure.
Can you do it with a microphone? Just talking to it.
Ooh, so there's an Evernote app you can put on your phone, and if you go into the Evernote app on your phone, there is a microphone. There are two microphones. So if you put in a new note and start a new note, there's a microphone. You probably won't be able to see it, but there's a microphone in the mid. I don't think you can see it in the middle of your screen. There's a microphone in the middle of your screen, and if you click on that, it makes what's called a wave file, which is a voice recording of what you're saying. If you click on the microphone at the bottom of your screen next to the space bar, it actually takes dictation into Evernote. So you can
what's
talk
the difference between the two?
The middle one makes a voice file, so it makes an actual recording of your voice, and the bottom one takes dictation, so you can talk in and it will type out everything you're saying.
Wow, like transcribing on
it. Yeah, it transcribes it for you instantly on your phone, and then
I like it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is sick. So what I do when I write my blog posts sometimes is I like to talk more than I like to type, so I'll just talk into my phone. And then there's a file in Evernote, and my virtual assistant can go in and post the blog.
Make it into it, yeah. Yep.
And where did you say that the second one, the one that transcribes it?
It's at the bottom next to the space bar.
Okay. It's just, and it may be different depending on what phone you have. You probably have an iPhone, right, Sarah?
Yeah. This is on my iPhone 6.
And you have iPhone as well. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so iPhones have that capability. I think Androids, I think they do as well, but it's in a different place. I don't know. I don't have an Android, but anybody out there who's listening who has an Android, if you know these things,
you can probably look it up. I didn't want to type anymore. I just wanted to talk, and I was like, there has to be a way.
I have a question. Sure. So I don't know if we're moving on to that yet or in a little bit, but obviously that was going to be one of the questions on how to all the different ways to actually write it, right?
Yeah.
And unlike you, Sarah, I don't like to write as much as I like to talk. And one of the things that, as far as speeding up the process, that the guy Mike spoke about, the one who wrote the book on Publish for Profit, was to do the exact same thing, like you said. To literally, he said he just records his on your phone recorder. And he would just send it into a transcriber. They would transcribe it. Right. Then he would send it to an editor. They would edit it, and then he'd go on from there. So what I wanted to ask you, though, is when you use that, do you notice kind of like SureType where you type something and it messes up what you wrote?
No.
Does it do that often?
No.
Oh, it doesn't.
I actually tested it. My office, I now have my office in my home, but it was across this hall from an attorney. So I tested it with him. I was like, say all kinds of legal mumbo jumbo words.
Wow.
And I got them all.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yep.
so great to know, because then that takes out the transcribing part.
Right,
of it,
because
so
that's what I was thinking. I would just record it and then send it to someone, but then you have to wait to get it back. Usually it takes a couple of days. You have to pay.
Right.
Free.
Well, that's awesome. This is so amazing. Thank you so
I'm
much for sharing
actually a Android user, but I don't have the app yet. I'm just interested in downloading it. Maybe I can hurry and do it and tell you if I can find that.
This is why attorneys love Evernote. Yeah, must be.
Yeah, I do nearly all my texting and so forth with the voice thing, and it's incredible how good it's gotten at transcribing.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep,
it's true. It's very true. Yeah.
So did you go through the 5 reasons?
Yeah, the last one, if you guys want to, if we want to jump to that, is and I think it's actually a good segue too, because it's it can become a source, depending on what the book is. Like a family history book, you may not want to publish it and get it out there, but it might be more of a personal thing. But a book about it just depends on what it is. But you really can make some good residual income, especially if you do publish it on Amazon.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a long book. It can be pretty short, actually. There's a really cool and we don't have to go into this right now. I think it might be actually another really cool blab, but there's so many reasons why you should publish on Amazon, guys. Like so many. Mm-hmm. I could probably come up with like 8 or 10. But yeah, I mean, Amazon. I mean,
I wrote a blog post about why you should sell, if you sell products, any product,
sell it on Amazon. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, you get 70% royalties. Go to any publisher out there, and which I did. And if you're lucky, you get like 15% if they sell it at full price, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a book published. I mean, I have a friend who did get a book published, but he had to go to like 65 different publishers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. I mean,
it's so much work. Yeah. And then getting rejected by them. And a lot of times it costs money to submit. And then, it's just a huge hassle. And then you only get about, 10 to 15%. Sometimes I've heard of people getting like less than 8%. Because they have to put their book on sale, and then when it's on the shelves, they have to, they're covering all these expenses and things. But Amazon, I mean, it markets for you. They have 5 million unique viewers per. Or let's see here. No, this can't be right. I was just looking at some of my notes here, but they promote you. It's the second largest search engine on the internet. They have 200 million credit cards on file. And that was a couple months ago.
Wow.
But you think about that, one click marketing, right? Like they don't even think about their credit card being there. They just have to click buy, they do everything for you from,
one click.
Yeah. One click purchasing is awesome. Right.
Well, I actually teach people not to have it because I'm a money coach.
You're right.
One click. This is your path: wish list, cart, then buy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you delay.
That's smart buying. That's smart spending right
there.
Yeah.
That is good. And then they it's kind of like instant market research too. They give you so much information about what's going on with your books that you wouldn't necessarily have if you go through a publisher.
Right.
And then, when you're going through a publisher too, you have all these, and I've talked to a lot of publishers because I thought about going through a couple of publishers to do this book, and I asked them about marketing because, you're giving up a huge percentage, and they're like, well, yeah, it's because you don't have huge marketing. But then when I talked to these publishers, they said, well, really, we'll accept your book because you have a good following already.
Right.
But if you don't have a following, a lot of them won't even accept your book. And then, and they expect you to market your own book primarily. And so really,
they don't pay for it. It's not like they pay for you to do your book tour. Most of them, you're paying to do your own book tour, and you're so if you're going to do that, you might as well do it on your own.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like John Maxfield, or
John C. Maxwell.
John Maxwell, or like Jack Canfield or somebody like that, they're not gonna sponsor you in that way if you're starting out. So, but Amazon, yeah, I mean,
sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but there's like three questions that we've missed that people are typing. Should we answer those?
Sorry, I wasn't.
Okay. Sorry,
Okay, so Jeremy,
hi, there's other people in here.
Yes, Jeremy, I am. Yes, which is it makes it, they make it really, really easy for you. All you need is for the Create Space, which is the print on demand. It's paperback publishing through Amazon, which means you don't have to buy, $20,000 worth of books,
right?
And sit them on the shelf.
That's gold.
Right.
That's gold.
No inventory. It's the best.
Yep.
Exactly.
They don't make it till you pay for it.
Yep.
They buy.
So yes, I am self-publishing and doing Kindle and Create Space. It's their Amazon print on demand it's through Create Space. So, so I don't know, Visnator.
Wait, so is that a physical copy?
Yes. So when somebody orders it on Amazon, it actually will literally print the book like right after they order it and then ship it. And it's all computers. It's all through a, computerized system. Nobody even has to touch the book. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's go ahead, Corinne.
Sorry, I have another question. Just because it's popping up, and I'm like, I'm still not very familiar with Blab.
Yeah.
Like in the comment section, I don't know if you guys can see this, but if like there's a stripe and then it has a little arrow and a little star, what do those two mean?
Oh, so like if you like what somebody said, you can star it. So watch, I just starred hers.
Oh, got it.
And the arrow is if I want to reply, so I can reply.
Well, that makes it easier.
Right now to.
Oh, got it.
Right.
Okay.
And then it's more likely for somebody to see it because it has their handle.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering that, guys. I was just like, wait, this just popped up. What is that?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. That's very useful, actually. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Perfect. So it's kind of like on Periscope where you can click on the little picture and then hit reply to them.
Yeah. It's sort of like giving a like or a heart to the person's comment.
Acknowledging.
Right. Acknowledging or replying to their comment.
Perfect. What is Wattpad? Did somebody ask about that?
Yeah, I don't know what Wattpad is. So, yeah, I'm not sure of Visnator. Yeah, not sure what Wattpad is. Does anybody else use Wattpad here? Ever heard of it?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, well, yeah, that's all right. Maybe Visnator can embellish. So let's see here. Let's go into anyone using Scrivener already. Yeah, it sounds like somebody was using Scrivener, or maybe that was just Jeremy. Who did you say that?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah, I haven't used it yet, but I've
heard of it.
When I was thinking about writing a book, I have a friend who had just done a book.
What does Scrivener do?
He showed me it was like, all I can say is it was awesome. It was really cool.
Makes it easy.
Sick.
I'll check it out.
And the coolest thing that I liked about it is, say you're writing your book and you have all these sections, is it's really easy to like pull out a section and make a blog post out of it. That was the thing I thought was really neat.
I have a question about that for Andy,
just
because you kind of talked about like pulling out sections. As far as I've been listening to a lot of videos and like podcasts on like how to write a book, and talking about trying to get all your ideas in order, and like he talked about like having a kind of like a guideline, right? Like an outline of how it is that you're going to write it, and starting with like titling the chapters so you can kind of keep your thoughts in line with the chapters. Is that kind of how you went about doing it, or did you have an outline, or where did you get the outline?
Yeah.
How did you come up with that?
That's a great question, actually. And I think I kind of had this, I like to think in outline, and I say, okay, what one thing do I want to, get across with this book? That's the title. Right. And then after that, I say, okay, what are the things about that I want to talk about? And then that's kind of the skeleton of the chapters. Okay. And you'll always think of something else. Like literally a couple days ago, I thought of a new chapter and I was like, there's no way that this can't be in the book. Like that has to be in the book, So it's going to take another, it's going to be worth it though. It's really, really awesome. But yeah, I mean, I put the chapters in, kind of in order, and then, you might switch them up in order later on. That's fine. But yeah, one thing, and this, I'll share one thing that I think was really helpful for me. And maybe this will help. Okay, so Jeremy, I just want to answer Jeremy's question really fast. Did you write your book chapter by chapter? So yes and no. At the beginning, I went through and kind of outlined each one, just kind of as I put the outline out of all the chapters, and then I went through and I outlined each chapter, kind of a couple of key points that I wanted to share. And then another thing I did is after that I went through and I'm getting an echo. I don't know if that's are you guys hearing the echo?
Yes, sorry. My computer just turned on. Earlier, I could not get it on my computer. I couldn't see you guys are here. And all of a sudden it just
So that's the echo?
Sorry. That was the echo.
Oh, okay. That's right. I was like, wow, I'm in a big, large cathedral. But yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, yeah. So yeah, but to kind of answer your question, yeah, I outlined each of the chapters, kind of put the points that I wanted to make in the chapters in each of them. And then I went back and my brain, everybody's brain's different, but my brain kind of needs to work in kind of like categories almost, you could say, because then I went to this kind of stage of, okay, now I need to come up with a story for each one of these principles, because people love stories. I mean, you can share all kinds of, principles and quotes and stuff like that, but they're not going to remember these quotes. They're going to remember a story.
Yeah, they're anchoring.
That's true.
Yeah, they'll always remember a story. And so, like, for example, this is just a quick example. One of my chapters is about, answering a question and that hasn't been answered yet. And I think a lot of people think that there's really no more questions to answer, that everything's already been answered and everything's already been discovered. It's like the Truman Show, when Truman gets up and he's like, I want to be an explorer. And the teacher's like, oh, well, and she pulls down the map and she says, well, I'm sorry, but everything's already been discovered. So there's nothing left to explore. And it's like, oh, how depressing, And for that like small child who's like wanting to be a discoverer. But I honestly think that there's questions to answer. There's things to discover still. And what the story that I used for that chapter is, I asked the question, how many apples had fallen by the year 1666? And, the answer to that, I don't know. I mean, there's probably billions, right? Or trillions maybe all over the world up until that point. But what was different about the year 1666? It wasn't the apple, but it was Isaac Newton. And, Isaac Newton saw an apple fall, and billions of other people had seen apples fall off of trees before, but nobody had been Isaac Newton before. And he had studied like crazy, and him seeing that apple fall from the tree was totally different from anybody else seeing the apple fall from the tree. And I mean, gravity now, I mean, that's why we know about gravity, right? Because that apple, or because of Isaac Newton, not because of the apple. And so, everybody out there is like an Isaac Newton. So that's just kind of an example of, you guys are going to remember that story about Isaac Newton and the apple falling. You probably won't remember much else about what I said, but you will remember the Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
No, that actually is a really good mind talk thing that we all have to push past to write our books, is that thought that, oh, you don't have anything original. There's so many people, who are you to have an original thought or something?
Well, and also you don't, like what I am realizing is I don't necessarily have to have an original thought.
Exactly.
I can even just compiling things in a different way is original. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, look how many books there are that are sort of just rehashing, but they're pulling together everything so that it's all in one place. It's not necessarily like these earth-shattering revelations, right?
Yeah.
It's just how you pull that together. But I had a question about the story thing because, I'm struggling a little bit with that. The book that I want to write, I don't know the exact title, but it's going to be something like I call BS on that. And what it is calling BS on people's mindset issues around money, right? And so each chapter will be a limiting belief or issue that people have around money. And then I'm going to try to tell a story that basically refutes that that thinking, right? Like one could be like, it's already been done. It's already been done. Why would I do it? I can't make any money doing that. It's already been done, right? And then the story of, yes, it has already been done, but let's look at, but I don't know how to do that and like still keep it personal because obviously every story isn't going to be about me.
Right.
That's a really good question, and that's something that I struggled with my whole book because I thought, man, and sometimes I had to to go just hang out with somebody and say, okay, guys, I need a story here. Like I'm struggling,
right?
And
like
here's the
a
principle.
Story in regards to a topic.
Yeah, like in regards to like the principle or something, and you don't have to have a story. I think it's okay to. And honestly, some of my chapters don't have stories. They don't start with like that, kind of personal story. Some of them I talk about, things that I did or something in my life or, how I was almost in a movie or how whatever, all these like different personal stories. But I only share the stories if they're the perfect story for that thing.
For that particular.
Exactly.
Well, I can see how an example can substitute or be a story. Like you said, like this person or this company did that or approved if it gives a story to their mind, then it's a story. And I also had the thought that if you were sharing something about a famous person, you could do a little bit more research into their life to help them become more alive and more personal.
Absolutely. And I actually start my whole book with a story of a famous person who was amazing, but who could have been incredible, like life-changing and world changing. Steve Prefontaine, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he was a really famous runner who was about to break the world record in the 5,000 meters, and then he died, like right before it happened. And it's just like this story that, because I'm a runner, I love running, and I was a track star in high school and college and stuff. And he was such a hero for me, but his story just kind of haunts me because it's like, man, like his potential, just never got reached,
Right.
And that's what my book's about is like, don't waste your potential. Like don't die before you break your own world record. So anyways.
And I think that goes to kind of just like how we started and how Carolyn was saying how she's kind of, trying to work up the courage in some sense to like do this is I like to tell everybody like, it's not about how long we live. It's about how you live. Like, so if you have something that you want to do, like don't wait a day longer, start something today because we're truly never promised tomorrow. And like Andy said, like we all have a unique story. And even just in not wanting to do something and thinking about what about like, doesn't need to be original, but like Andy said, again, we all have our own story and we all have our own unique ways of interpreting, what like life through our eyes. And we can all learn from someone else's, outlook on their life. And I've read so many books and heard so many quotes and thought, wow, like how could I have never looked at life that way?
Yeah.
And because I heard that one quote, my life is forever changed.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, that one verse, like by Jim Rohn, I absolutely love it. And I had heard it in the past, but I read it and heard it in a season of my life where it never resonated to me more than now.
Right. Isn't that funny where like you could read something and you get one thing from it and then you read something like 2 years later and you're like, how did I not, that was like, how did I not see that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just like, for me, it's like I said, honestly, if there's one thing that truly scares me, that scared me in the past, like, I think the only thing, because I'm a pretty, like, just, I jump and I figure it out on the way down. You know what I mean? I take risks all the time. But, like, so many times I do things and people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. Like, what if it doesn't work? I'm like, well, what if it does work? I think it's about asking the right questions and just going for it, right? Because we limit ourselves so much when we ask ourselves, well, what if it doesn't work? What if nobody buys it? What if nobody likes it? But what if one person reads it and it changes their life?
Right.
You know, what if it was like that one sentence that you said in this whole book? That somebody, it meant it was a life-changing moment for somebody.
Right, you never know. Like, I mean, I had a guy.
That's all that happened.
I had a guy call me, and tell me that I did this YouTube interview. I was totally freaked out because I did not want to be on camera. It was like my first time interviewed on camera. And 6 months later, this guy in Canada called me and said he was bagging groceries, listening to YouTube videos because it was so boring bagging groceries that he couldn't like get through his shift. So he was listening to YouTube videos, happened to listen to mine, and the topic was how to stop trading time for money. You know, which he was like trying to get out of this job. He was inspired to get out of this bagging grocery job and get a job in his field. And that was just from that one video that I was like petrified to get on screen for. So you have no idea how long
that's really cool
the tail is of something you're doing, right? You could write a book and like you said, if you change somebody, I mean, who cares? If I change one person's life by doing something that I was scared to do, then I have a responsibility to do that.
Absolutely. I love that. So let me just, it looks like we lost Karen again. But I just want to, can I say something about that really fast? So, you know, it's when you're about to do something great, and Corinne, I'm sorry we lost Corinne, but you know, it's interesting because when you're doing something great and when you're about to, you know, to win, and Corinne talks about this a ton, like that's what her whole thing's about, is winning. When you start to do something that is awesome, people get uncomfortable around you a lot of times, most of the time, because they may have some sort of dissonance inside of them that's saying, because you're doing something great, you know, they for whatever reason, they, you know, don't feel like they're doing what they should be doing. And then because of that, they kind of say, well, who are you to write a book, or who are you to, you know, publish this thing? And I have a blog where I get a significant amount of traffic. And anytime I write something that is meaningful, I always have haters. I mean, everybody gets haters, right? But there's always somebody who says, you know, some raunchy thing about you, or about why, or whatever you wrote. But the people, like you just said, Sarah, who are, you know, who need your message, and who it actually will change their life in that moment that they need it, those people are like, they're out there, and they are not quite as verbal as the ones who are the haters. And you have to remember that, especially as you're writing your book, you have a message. And you know, my brother always tells me this, and I don't know if I'm going to get it right, but he says something like, some will, some won't, so what? Someone's waiting. And,
I like that.
You know, it's, you know, some people will need it, some people won't need it. So what? You know, somebody is waiting. Somebody's waiting out there for your message. And
so it sounds like it takes mainly courage to write a book. And it's occurring to me that you should pay attention, with the intention of writing a book, carry some way around with you to record, and pay attention to when you feel inspired, when you have an aha moment.
That's very true.
I have to go. I have to go pick my daughter up
thanks.
School, but
thanks for joining, Sarah. Yeah,
with you, and I hope to jump on here again with you soon.
That'd be great. That sounds good. I'm going to try to. Thanks so much. I'm going to try to answer a couple of questions over here really fast. It looks like Miramonde. I don't know if I said that right, but you said, do you outline the book first? How about character development? When does it happen? So it depends on what kind of book you're writing. And I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to. It'd be cool to have one of my friends who's just barely published his kind of novel, where he talked about, it's more about characters and character development, and it's more of a fiction. But mine's I'm more of a nonfiction writer who is kind of more of a self-help author. But yeah, so yes, I do outline the chapters before, in the book beforehand for sure. I think that's really important. It's hard to start writing something when you don't really know where you're going. So it's really helpful to know where you're going before you start writing. So, and then let's see here. See, you all writers, what's your market's audience niches? So yeah, I think I kind of just answered that. So yeah, just kind of the self-help market right there. So, and then let's see here. Anybody else? Oh, so we have, I'm not sure how to say your username, Salamag Kaber something. I'm sorry. I know you gave me a ton of props, man. That was awesome. But he wanted us to speak Spanish, and we'll get Corinne back in here. But yeah, it looks, you're back. Okay, so I don't know if I can hear you.
Yeah,
but
yes, I am back. Okay. I'm so sorry. I had my phone plugged in. I don't know how. I think it just
it died
out, and it died on me. And it's
that's all right. Oh man.
Someone speak Spanish?
Yeah, they want us to speak Spanish. Because I speak Spanish, guys. Okay, muy bien, está bien. Yo también hablo español. Alguna vez podemos hacer una blab en español, tal vez. So that'd be cool, or maybe Spanglish, right?
Yeah.
Okay, will you do this topic again? That was your question, Carolyn. Your daughter needs this. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and hit stop now.